this is a conversation that I think is going to be interesting on a few different levels. Because like I said, it's good to have a woman's perspective on things. So the first question that I have is, why is it often perceived or the reality difficult for a woman that prioritizes her career to find love or to be highly desirable from men?
Okay, so why do women prioritize their career?
Women that prioritize their career, why are they less in demand? Let's say
I got what you're saying.
As opposed to women that aren't the boss babes, boss chicks.
I think a lot of it has to do with there's not the balance. I call it the queen and the princess energy is what I call it. And there's a balance to that. And we have to look at what the people that came before us, the women that came before us. So despite what people like to think, a lot of our grandmothers and great grandmothers were not happily married. Matter of fact, one of the things that having my Christmas cafe has done, I draw a lot of elderly people. And I had an older Black lady come here maybe about 2 weeks ago, and she was telling me, it was a time that we couldn't come across this side of town, right? And as I'm talking to her, relationships came up. And she told me how long she was married. And I said, oh, what's the key to a happy marriage, being married that long? She says, well, to be honest with you, I only know one happily married couple. She had to be in her 80s. And I think what's happened is the women that came before us, they wanted to ensure that we were not looked over, that we were educated, and that we had everything that we needed so we wouldn't be in a position that they were in. But in them teaching us to go ahead and be career oriented and get educated so you don't have to be beholden to a man, because you got to remember, a lot of women, when we married back then, because we didn't have any rights, a woman couldn't even get a credit card in her name until the 60s. It was President Reagan who put it into law that we can even get a business loan. Single women at a point in time were not even able to get a bank account. So a lot of the women that came before us were more, there were women that were looking to survive. So instead of us dealing with what they dealt with, what they did was they instilled, go get educated, go get educated, go get educated. But what they missed, and I don't think they meant to do it, what they meant was take your girl with you. They pushed so hard for us to be women that are independent of a man because of what they went through. And I think we live in a society now where all these men are talking about women are submissive, but they're not paying attention to like the women before us. A lot of them were overly submissive because they needed to keep a roof over their head. And if you think about it, you see times when daddy passed away and his other families from other sides of town,
Yeah.
So were those women really submissive at that level that men are asking for women to be now, or were they that submissive out of survival? So that's a question that we don't really ask, but to hear so many women, and here, we have a multicultural, backgrounds of people that come here. So one of my ladies, she had to be in her 80s. She walked by and she said, that MF get on my damn nerve. And I said, oh man, did one of my employees do something? She said, no, I'm talking about him. And I said, oh, your husband? She said, yeah. I said, how long you been married? She said, 62 years. I said, what's the key to staying married 62 years? She said, I didn't want to go to jail. She said, I couldn't do the time. And this was a Caucasian lady. So a lot of them, when I sit down and I talk to our elders, a lot of the women were not happy. She said, I became a wife at 18 and they did all of the things. And so white women, Black women, that when they come in here, they're so proud of me. I didn't understand why they were so proud to see me do this. And I started listening to them. They never had the opportunity because they never had rights. They didn't have the education to do so. So that's why, in my opinion, why women prioritize their career, because those that came before us didn't teach us that there could be a balance, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense. But in this era, how does a woman be a boss babe and still have like kind queen energy inside of a relationship to have like best of both worlds? Like what tips would you give to the women for that?
She don't. You can't be a boss chick and a boss baby and a boss bitch and be that. You have to be what I call a feminine CEO. That's different.
Okay,
the feminine CEO is a woman in business, not a businesswoman.
Okay, explain.
That's different. What that is her womanhood comes before anything. It comes before her career. It comes before kids. It comes before a man. Her womanhood and who she's being to herself comes before everything. So my businesses are all around my lifestyle, not my lifestyle around my businesses. So I think what we've done is we have took pride in, I'm a boss, I got my coins, I'm about my bag. No, let's take pride in what it means to be a woman first, and then all of the other things are added bonuses. I think that's where there is this discrepancy, and proving that I can do what a man can do. Someone sent me a video yesterday of a well-known fitness guru, and she said, when a man asks you, can I get your bag, and she put the bag up and put it over her head, that's not a flex. That's just my opinion. It's not a flex, because you can do it, because what we're not paying attention to as women is we're putting so much stress on our bodies just to prove that we can do what you can do.
So let me ask you this, as far as submissive women, right?
Yeah.
That's a topic of discussion.
Yes.
And the trigger word.
It's a trigger.
But why is it a trigger though? That's why I just want to get to this vibe of submissive women. Like,
yeah.
What's your thoughts on this? Why is it such a triggering thing? How do women fall into that submissive bucket? Like, how does a man foster an environment for a woman to become submissive? What's your thoughts on that whole situation?
Well, see, it's a triggering word, because a lot of times submissive be coming from jokers that don't have what it takes for somebody to be submissive to them. So it's like,
what does it take? What does it take?
Because here's the thing. When we are in the presence of a man that makes us feel safe, feel seen, feel heard and protected, we naturally acquiesce. You don't have to ask for it. Any man that asks for why aren't women submissive, and he has these conversations all the time, you ain't him.
It's you. Yeah.
You just ain't him. You don't have to have conversations with us.
Yeah.
So it's a woman. So it's a woman's natural. You think it's a woman's natural vibe to want to be submissive?
We need masculine containership. So here's the deal. Feminine women, we love masculine leadership. And when I say leadership, I'm not talking about being domineering. Anytime I'm with a man, I don't care if it's somebody that I'm dating. I don't care if it's with my son. I don't care if it's with my driver or my security. My brain is I'll just be all over the place, just be vibing. I don't think about anything. I don't care. And it's to the point where when my driver and security and I are out, he got to literally, he's like, he pushed me back, because I just be looking at stuff that I don't get to look at when I'm by myself. I'm just like, oh, that looks so nice. And I'm just all over it, because I know he has it. So unless you provide that, you ain't gonna get no woman to submit to you, because we naturally do. But the other side of that is most women today do not have even male platonic friends that are masculine. So they don't even know how to receive it when a man comes in and do what a man does. It's because, oh, that's toxic. It's not toxic. This is just what men do. But because in your workplace, in your friend group, at your church, and everywhere else, you are not in communication and in community with masculine men on a regular basis. So you don't even know what to expect. So now here this man coming in and say, no, babe, we can't do that. Oh, why are you trying to tell me what to do? No, if you chose him, you should have vetted him to know that if he says no, his decision is based upon something that he sees that you don't, but you chose him. If you can't submit to who you chose, he's not the problem. You are.
That's a fact. That's a
fact. For the fellas, can you tell them how they can foster an environment for physical safety, emotional safety, which is really key, and how to make a woman feel seen?
Heal their traumas with their mothers. First and foremost.
What's that mean?
Although I have the cafe, I have been coaching men and women and high profile men for years. Women more so on the forefront, and I do work with high profile men more on the back end, because it became word of mouth and it just spread. And one of the things that I find is they had mama issues, or they had issues to where they never saw their mothers chosen.
Chosen.
They never saw their mother being chosen to be somebody's wife. So now they don't know how to foster the things that you just said because they never seen it with their own mothers. So it becomes a problem. And instead of them just being that masculine man, what they try to do is be overbearing to try to get women to do things because they don't have a real example. That's why a lot of podcasters that have these conversations, I'm like, child, give me the mic because y'all don't, your mamas wasn't even chosen.
Damn.
So you ain't even had no, you ain't that ill. Like
you ain't lying though.
But am I lying though?
Damn. You know, I ain't never think about it like that, but that is a fact.
So how do you have these conversations if your mama wasn't ever chosen?
Damn.
You don't have a blueprint and there's some anger there. That's why do you think these men hate on Russell Wilson so much? They tell us to choose better. Sierra chose better. Now he is simp because he took her with her kids. Well, nobody took your mama with her kids. Damn. So you don't know what that feels like.
Damn.
And I'm not saying it to be malice or mean, but it's the truth. So now he is simp, he this, but how can you tell us to choose better? She did. She learned from her mistakes. She got a good guy. Oh, he made the wrong decision. Stop moving the doggone goalposts. She did what men tell us to do. Pick a better man. But you cannot give a woman that safe space until you've created that healing place within yourself to really deal with your issues of maybe not seeing your mama chosen. Because if you had a good father.
But what about, okay, like I said, that's extremely insightful. But before we go to the next topic, what's the inverse of that? What about women that their mother was never chose, right?
Or have daddy issues.
They don't probably know how to be a wife, how to actually submit, how to actually fit inside an ecosystem because they've only seen masculine energy from their mother, their single mother, right? So how about that side of the coin?
It's the same thing. Listen, when I retired from working with the women in 2021, the internet went crazy. Even Kevin Samuels, rest his soul, he was like, y'all done caused April Mason to quit. And she's been doing this for a long time. What it is women that haven't seen that, it's easier. Now I'll say this, it's easier for a woman when she's ready to listen to get into that role than it can typically be for a man. The reason being is if a woman, we are community creatures. You guys don't really do community like that. So the reason why my followers follow and majority of my women are women like exactly what you said is because there's something that clicks at one point that says, hell, I keep coming home by myself. I'm raising these kids by myself. My back hurt. I'm starting to get all of these other issues. Okay, something is off. Men typically don't say something is off and go seek the help to figure out that something is off. So I would say it's easier. But I'll say this. Men don't typically do it until the woman that they want rejects them. And then it becomes, what's wrong with me? And then it makes them start doing the inner work when you keep doing the same thing. But it's typically some type of rejection that triggers them into jumpstarting that healing process. But women do it all the time. I would tell you this, Judge Joe Brown, I was like, why do these women fight me so hard? It's like, I'm trying to show them how to win. But when people are so used to losing, they don't know when you put them in a position to win. And Judge Joe Brown's words stuck with me. He said, the reason why you work so well with men is because at some point in a man's life, he's been coached. By the time a man comes to you and pay you, he's ready for clear instruction. And I said, yeah, that's typically what they do. They want to know, how do I not pick this kind of girl anymore? Because typically they've been married 2 to 6 times by the time they get to me. And it's like a wake up call. Because you got to remember, when you're dealing with high profile, high earning men, they don't take the time to learn how to be successful in relationships like they do in business. So they don't have those social relationship skills that you're supposed to have. They don't have that, but they're amazing on paper. So, and he said, but then the other side is women are used to being coddled. So I have to literally strip them down to say, all right, tell me who you are. Don't mention your degree. Don't mention how much money you have. Don't mention your kids. Don't mention any organizations you're a part of. Don't mention anything that required you to do something to become it. Tell me who you are minus that. That's where this happens. Oh, you attack it. No, I want you to figure out who you are outside of what you accomplished. And so once we go through that, the women, they don't like me. They don't like me much, too much after that, because I have to really dig in. And a lot of people don't want to do that work because we create these personas of who we are based upon what we can do, not what we can be. And I teach from a being standpoint versus a doing. So to answer your question, it's the same thing that women have to do that men have to do. But to answer your question, for a man to create a safe space, he got to be healed. But if you make a woman feel seen, heard, protected, and provided for, there's nothing we won't do, because that's all we really want. And it doesn't mean you got to make 6 figures. That whole 6 figures thing is a trip to me right now. But the man that can make a woman feel like that, he's golden. That's the guy you want.
So you don't have to make 6 figures. How much money you have to make?
It's not even about a dollar amount. It's about a lifestyle.
Okay.
We got to stop the bullshit. Lifestyle.
Let's stop the
Okay,
cap.
What?
Let's stop the Capricorn.
Let me explain. Let me explain. And this is why I say this, Ian. This is why I say that. Here's the deal. If we look at the average American man, he don't even make $60,000 a year. The average American woman don't even make $50,000 a year. If you look at the labor statistics, why is everybody tripping off this 6-figure thing? If the average, we're not talking about the 1 to 10 percenters. We're talking about the average American don't make 6 figures. I was looking at a study, I believe last year. It said that only 21% of men in America make $100,000 a year. Out of that 20%, only 8% are Black men. So it's not necessarily the dollar amount. I think women are having a hard time explaining what it is that they want. 6 figures don't mean he's generous, first and foremost. When you are around, money, men with means, that don't mean they generous. Like, that's why I said it has to be the lifestyle. So if those in that income bracket is making similar, your lifestyles may be similar. You should be looking for somebody that has a similar lifestyle than you. There's nothing wrong with leveling up, but here's where the ladies miss it. And this is the part that they don't like when I say. They want the 6-figure man, but you don't provide the feminine experience in exchange.
Exactly.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Problem.
Talk.
Finding men to take care of you is easy. I mean, it's like I meet men that make $500,000 a year, like I'm drinking this hot apple cider. That's the easiest thing to do. Those are the men that the women want. They come to me for. I'm like, but do you provide the feminine experience in exchange?